Also tonight, it's Pastry Week on the Great British Bake Off at 8. Now on BBC Two, turning to jelly is more likely.
In the spotlight tonight is Chris Braithwaite from Cambridge, a PhD student, and his specialist subject is the boat race. Ed Isaacs from Wolverhampton, a housing regeneration consultant, and his subject, the novels of Evelyn Waugh. Simon Gay from London, a professional musician, his subject, English coronations. And Peter Gaskell from Caerphilly, a project manager, and his subject is Bob Marley. Hello and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphreys. Like the thousands who have gone before them, tonight's contenders must face television's toughest mental test. It's the time pressure that tends to be the problem. 2 minutes on their chosen subject and 2 minutes on general knowledge, and that's it. Tonight's winner will come back in the next round and have to do it all again. So let's have our first contender, please. And your name is?
Chris Braithwaite.
Your occupation?
PhD student.
And your chosen subject?
The boat race.
The boat race in 2 minutes, starting now. Which Cambridge student and future Dean of Ely is credited with co-founding the boat race along with his Oxford friend Charles Woodsworth?
Charles Merivale.
Yes, the first race was held over a 2¼ mile course from which lock on the Thames to Henley Bridge on the 10th of June, 1829?
Pass.
Who was the president of the Oxford University Boat Club during the so-called mutiny of 1987 when a group of American oarsmen withdrew from the team?
Donald MacDonald.
Correct. After being held sporadically from 1829, what was the last year before the outbreak of the Great War in which there was no boat race?
1855.
Yes, in 1983, which Oxford oarsman won his 6th consecutive boat race?
Boris Rankoff.
Yes, what's the only day of the week on which the race has never taken place?
Friday.
Tuesday. What's the name of the waterman who's said to have announced the result of the 87-7 race as dead heat for Oxford by 5 feet?
John Phelps.
Yes. Why was the 1912 event declared a no race and rescheduled to take place 2 days later?
Both boats sank.
Yes. Which broadcaster made his first commentary on the race in 1931 and is famous for saying, "I don't know who's ahead, it's either Oxford or Cambridge"?
Crabbe.
John Snagg. The official distance of the current race, taking the measurement along the centre of the river's course, is 4 miles. And how many yards?
374.
Yes, the Cambridge Reserve crew is named after which stroke who took part in the race from 1869 to 1872?
John Goldie.
Yes, what major change in the design of the boats was adopted by both universities for the 1873 race?
Sliding seats.
Yes, who became the first woman to take part in the event when she coxed for Oxford in 1981?
Sue Brown.
Yes, Oxford won the 2003 race by what distance, believed to be the closest finish in the race's history?
1 foot.
Yes, which writer and actor was a member of the Cambridge crew in 1980, following his father, who rowed in the winning boats in 1934, 35 and 36?
Hugh Laurie.
Correct. Who was Oxford's head rowing coach from 1973 to 1987? He achieved 12 victories during this time, including 10 in successive years.
Dan Topolsky.
Correct. Who rowed for Oxford's winning crews in 1990 and 91, but was on the losing side in 93, the year after he won his first Olympic gold medal?
Matthew Pinsent.
Yes, in 1845, when the race started at Putney Bridge for the first time, I started so I should finish, which Mortlake landmark was named as the finishing point?
Mortlake Church.
The church tower, yes. 1 pass. It was Hambledon Lock that I needed you to name. Chris Braithwaite, 15 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Ed Isaacs.
Your occupation?
I'm a housing regeneration consultant.
And your chosen subject?
The novels of Evelyn Waugh.
The novels of Evelyn Waugh in 2 minutes, starting now. Which of Evelyn Waugh's characters owns a Gothic-style house called Hetton Abbey?
Tony Last.
Correct. According to Anthony Blanche, what is the great English blight that kills art, love, and finally Charles Ryder as an artist?
Love.
Charm. Which character in Decline and Fall has doubts because he cannot understand why God created the world?
Prendergast.
Yes. Which of war's heroines has the misfortune of being eaten at a feast by the hero, amongst others?
Pass.
In The Loved One, who suggests to Amy Thanatogenos that she should kill herself by jumping out of a high window?
Pass.
In Vile Bodies, who's described as last week's Prime Minister, although he's later reinstated at number 10?
Outrage.
Yes. Which of his friends dismissed the temple at Thatch as too English for my exotic taste, prompting war to destroy the novel?
Pass.
What literary nickname does Gilbert Pinfold give to the woman whom he thinks helps Captain Steerforth torture a sailor to death?
Pass.
The character of Julia Stitch in Scoop was modelled on which of war's friends?
Pass.
In The Loved One, what is the name of the church dedicated to Robert Burns and Harry Lauder?
The Wee Church in the Heather.
No, the Weekirk Old Lang Syne. On which journalist, politician and associate of Churchill did Waugh model the character of Rex Mottram in Brideshead Revisited?
Randolph Churchill.
Brendan Bracken. In Vile Bodies, which author particularly excites the attentions of a customs officer who thinks he's French and therefore likely to write pretty dirty books?
Adam Symes.
No, Dante. Which notoriously bungled wartime operation of May 1941 forms the backdrop for the later stages of Officers and Gentlemen?
Crete.
Yes. In A Handful of Dust, which Dickens novel does Mr. Todd suggest that Tony Lash should read to him after his 2 days of drugged sleep?
Bleak House.
No, Little Dorrit. Gilbert Pinfold sees elephants, ruins, monks and the ceremonial exposure of which sacred relic in Ceylon?
The Temple at Kandy.
The Buddha's Tooth. In Put Out More Flags, Ambrose Silk remembers being accompanied by which instruments during a recitation through a megaphone of In Memoriam at Oxford?
Trombones.
Combs and tissue paper. It was, in fact, you had 5 passes altogether. Lady Diana Cooper was the character on whom Julia Stitch was modelled. Goneril was the literary nickname. Harold Acton was the chap who said too English for my exotic taste. Mr. Slump suggested that she should kill herself. And Prudence Courtney was the heroine who happened to be eaten. 5 passes, Ed Isaacs, 4 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Simon Gay,
Your occupation?
professional musician.
And your chosen subject?
English coronations since 1066.
English coronations in 2 minutes starting now. Which anthem by Handel has been sung at the anointing of every monarch since the coronation of George II?
Zadok the priest.
Yes, what was the name of the couturier who designed the dress worn by Elizabeth II at her coronation?
Norman Hartnell.
Yes, when Elizabeth I came to the throne, the See of Canterbury was vacant and the Catholic bishops appointed by her sister Mary were still in their posts. Who was the only one who would agree to crown her?
The Bishop of Carlisle.
Yes. Who composed the setting for Psalm 122? I was glad when they said unto me, which was first used for the coronation of Edward VII?
Charles Hubert Hastings Parry.
Yes. What was the name of the 12th century prior who produced forged charters confirming Westminster Abbey's claim to be the permanent setting for the coronation?
Pass.
What nickname was given to William IV's coronation because of the king's reluctance even to have a ceremony and his unwillingness to spend much money on it?
The penny coronation.
Yes, or the half-crowning. Which king had 3 crowns placed on his head during the ceremony? St. Edward's crown, an imperial crown and a small personal crown.
Edward VI.
Yes, what's the oldest surviving part of the coronation regalia? Dates back to the 12th century.
The anointing spoon.
Correct. What name is used for the stole worn across the sovereign's shoulders, which was introduced in the 15th century?
The armills.
Yes. The oil used for the anointing of the sovereign from the coronation of Henry IV until Tudor times was supposedly given by the Virgin Mary to which saint?
St. John.
Thomas à Becket. What was the name of the elderly peer who fell down the steps when he was trying to pay homage to Queen Victoria?
Lord Rolle.
Yes. During which coronation did the congregation begin eating a meal while the Archbishop was preaching his sermon?
George II.
No, George III's. What other name is given to the sword of state which is used for the investiture of the monarch?
Pass.
Contrary to the usual practice, who crowned Queen Alexandra in 1902?
The Archbishop of York.
Yes, what was the name of the Lancaster Herald who was commissioned by the King to produce the history of the coronation of the most high, most mighty and most excellent monarch, James II?
Pass.
Henry III's first coronation was in which cathedral at the age of 9 because London was in the hands of the French?
Gloucester.
Correct. The tumultuous reception given to which king at his acclamation alarmed his guards who thought that a rebellion was taking place and set fire to some houses near the abbey?
William the Conqueror.
William the Conqueror it is, and you had 3 passes. The name of the Lancaster Herald was Francis Sandford. The Sword of Offrin is the other name for the Sword of State, and Osbert de Clare was the name of the 12th century prior that I was looking for. 3 passes, Simon Gay, 12 points.
Thank you.
And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Peter Gaskell,
Your occupation?
project manager.
And your chosen subject?
The life and music of Bob Marley.
The life and music of Bob Marley in 2 minutes starting now. What was Marley's nickname which he used for the record label that he started in 1970?
Tough Gong.
Correct. Which Jamaican musician acted as a mentor and singing coach to Marley and the Wailers in the early 60s and remained a lifelong friend?
Joe Higgs.
Yes, in 1977, Marley was given a ring that had previously belonged to whom? It was a gift he treasured for the rest of his life.
Haile Selassie.
Yes, according to a Marley song, who is a clown who rides through town in a coffin?
Mr. Brown.
Yes, at the One Love peace concert in 78, he persuaded the Jamaican Prime Minister Michael Manley to shake hands with which of his political rivals?
Edward Seaga.
Yes, the 64 song I Am Going Home is a ska version of which spiritual?
Pass.
What's the name of his son whose mother is the 76 Miss World, Cindy Breakspear?
Damien.
Yes. In which country did Marley and the Wailers perform at President Omar Bongo's birthday party in 1980?
Gabon.
Yes, Marley's first single, Judge Not, was originally released on which record label?
Beverleys.
Yes. What's the name of the Jamaican footballer who became a manager for the band in the early 70s?
Alan Skilcole.
Yes. Which headlining band were Marley and the Wailers supporting when they were fired after 4 dates of their American tour in 73?
Sly and the Family Stone.
Correct. With whom did the band perform I Shot the Sheriff at a charity show in Kingston in October 75?
Stevie Wonder.
Yes. What's the title of the album Marley produced in 76 for the American singer Martha Velez?
Pass.
Marley undertook the management of which group comprising his future wife Rita, her cousin Constantine Dream Walker and Precious Gifford in the mid-60s?
Pass.
Which song features a passage from Haile Selassie's speech to the United Nations on world peace?
War.
Yes. What's the title of the first Marley album to be released after his death, which reached number 5 in the UK album chart in 83?
Confrontation.
Correct. Which unorthodox cancer specialist treated Marley at his German clinic during the last few months of his life?
Issels.
Yes. In 1970, Marley accompanied the singer Johnny Nash to which European country where he helped him to compose songs for a film score?
Sweden.
Correct. Which 70s album was presented in an expensively designed sleeve made to look like a Zippo lighter?
Catch a Fire.
Correct. What was the title of Marley's final encore in Pittsburgh in September? I've finished the question. In September 1980, which became the last song he ever performed on stage?
Work.
Work it was. You had 3 passes. The Solettes was the name of that group, including his future wife. Escape from Babylon was the title of the album in 76. Swing Low, Sweet Chariot was the spiritual. 3 passes, Peter Gaskell, 17 points. So that's the first round, the specialist subject. Let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 4 points, Ed Isaacs. 3rd place with 12 points, Simon Gay. 2nd place, 15 points, Chris Braithwaite. In the lead with 17 points, Peter Gaskell. Round 2 now, general knowledge, and if there's a tie at the end of the round, then the number of passes get taken into account. So it's better, generally speaking, to take an educated guess rather than pass. Let's get on with the general knowledge round, and let me ask Ed Isaacs to join us again, if he would, please. And you will, of course, be kicking yourself, because once you get into that thing of not knowing, it builds on itself, doesn't it? And yes. Right. Now, you are a housing regeneration consultant. Is that what I would think of as a sort of town planner?
Well, I trained as a town planner many,
Right.
many years ago. Then I went into housing, and now I find myself really as a consultant, really on housing issues.
Is it fair to say we've made a mess of our towns and cities over the years?
I think a lot of our towns and cities have problems, certainly. A lot of them are deserted at night. People are leaving towns. And you get lots of unused space around them, but I like to think that regeneration is happening, and hopefully we're now doing it in a better way than we've done it in the past.
Right, well, you have 2 minutes for your general knowledge questions starting now. In the words of a popular First World War song, it's a long way to where?
Tipperary.
Yes. Which German physicist introduced the temperature scale where the freezing point of water is 32 degrees, the boiling point is 212 degrees?
Fahrenheit.
Yes. Which method of preparing food so that it may be eaten by Muslims means lawful in Arabic?
Halal.
Yes. What symbols of Liverpool did the German woodcarver and sculptor Carl Bernhard Bartels design?
The liver bird.
Yes. In the American Civil War, what name was given to the first official flag of the Confederate States?
Pass.
Samuel Langhorne Clemens was the real name of which humorous American author?
Mark Twain.
Yes. Which nut is produced by the tree Prunus dulcis, a close relative of the peach tree?
Apricot.
Almond. The voice of which ill-tempered cartoon character was provided by Clarence Nash, who died in February 1985?
Pass.
Who in 1725 completed a set of 12 violin concerti, the first 4 of which are known as the Four Seasons?
Vivaldi.
Yes, in 2003, Alec Jones was the last guest on which television programme that looked back over a person's life and career?
Pass.
The foundation stone of which English cathedral was laid by the Prince Bishop William of St Caroleph in August 1093?
Winchester.
Durham. What word for a state of disorder caused by the absence of authority comes from the Greek for without a ruler?
Chaos.
Anarchy. Which war broke out on the 25th of June 1950?
Korean War.
Yes, in figure skating, which jump consisting of 1.5 revolutions in the air is named after the Norwegian skater who was the first to perform it in 1882?
Salco.
Axel. What is the title of Anita Bruckner's 1984 Booker Prize-winning novel?
Hotel du Lac.
Yes, which rock musician was knighted in the Queen's 2002 birthday honours list?
Mick Jagger.
Yes, Polyphemus, who trapped Odysseus and his companions in a cave, was a member of which race of giants?
Cyclops.
Yes, the two halves of which city are linked by the Galatar Bridge, which crosses the Golden Horn?
Istanbul.
Istanbul is correct. You had 3 passes. This is your life. You'll kick yourself. Was that television programme? Alec Jones was the last guest. Donald Duck was the cartoon character. And the Stars and Bars was the name given to the first official flag of the Confederate States. 3 passes. You've gone up, Ed Isaacs, to 15 points. And now Simon Gay, please. And I'm told that I should be very respectful to you because the Queen is your boss.
My big boss, yes.
Yes. Well, a pretty big boss, yeah. Why? How come? You're a musician.
My official title is lay vicar of Westminster Abbey.
Right.
Vicar meaning in the place of, so I sing
Right.
the services for the Dean and Chapter.
So how come the Queen's your boss, ultimately?
Because the Abbey is a royal peculiar and it comes under no bishop or anybody apart from the Queen, and below her the Dean of Westminster.
Now, coronations are extraordinary things, aren't they? There was a bit of a row over televising our present Queen's coronation, the first, obviously, to be televised, and not everybody was happy about that.
No, the then Archbishop of Canterbury was very worried that people might watch it in pubs with their hats on. And that was the reason given that perhaps it shouldn't happen.
Right, well, you have 12 points at the moment. Let's see how you do with your general knowledge. 2 minutes starting now. Who is the presumed author of the Iliad and the Odyssey?
Homer.
Yes. Which Hollywood Western actor often appeared on screen with his wife Dale Evans and his horse Trigger?
Roy Rogers.
Yes. What were first classified into A and B categories around 1920? They were joined by an M category in the late 1950s.
Films.
Roads. Which bird's English name possibly comes from the Welsh for white head?
Pass.
Which social and educational organisation founded by Adelaide Hoodless has the motto for home and country?
Pass.
In which North Yorkshire seaside resort is the Stephen Joseph Theatre, where most of Alan Ayckbourn's plays are first performed?
Bridlington.
Scarborough. The heroine of which Verdi opera dies after being buried alive with her lover?
Aida.
Yes. Which river rises on the Welsh mountain Plynlimmon and then flows into the Severn estuary near Chepstow?
Usk.
Why? Which sport is played on Smith's Lawn in Windsor Great Park?
Polo.
Yes. Sir Edward Stanley was Prime Minister 3 times between 1852 and 1868. By what title was he better known?
Lord Beaconsfield.
Lord Derby. Which French term from the word to mount is used for images that are cut out and then reassembled to make a new picture?
Collage.
Montage. Who played the title role in the BBC Two historical drama series I, Claudius?
Derek Jacobi.
Yes. Which city in New York State is named after an ancient Greek settlement in Sicily?
Pass.
By what name is the captain of a rink in a curling or bowls team known?
Pass.
Which Spanish classical guitarist was elevated to the nobility with the title Marqués de Solebrena in 1981?
Paco Peña?
Segovia. Which word can mean an apparatus for raising heavy weights, a small flag indicating nationality, or a male donkey?
Jack.
Yes. Who was the King of France at the outbreak of the French Revolution?
Louis XV.
16th. Which film starring Leonardo DiCaprio as an American backpacking in Asia was advertised with the slogan, "Somewhere on this planet it must exist"?
The Beach.
Correct. Which controversial wife of a former president was a winner of the title Miss Manila in the 1950s?
Marcos.
Imelda Marcos, yes. And your time is up. You had 4 passes altogether. The captain of a rink is known as the skipper. Syracuse is that city named after an ancient Greek settlement. Women's Institute was founded by Adelaide Hoodless, and a penguin comes from the Welsh for white head. 4 passes, Simon Gay, 20 points. And now, Chris Braithwaite, please. I assume that you're an oarsman yourself.
Yes.
You took the boat race. You've got to be big to be an oarsman?
Not necessarily. I mean, last year's stroke Kit McDaniel is only a little bit over 6 foot. So,
Tiny.
yeah, pretty small, really.
Yeah, mere 6-footer, yeah. You're a PhD student and you blow up rocks.
Yes, my sort of experimental procedure is to strap pieces of rock to a large gas-powered gun and shoot them.
For a PhD?
For a PhD, yes. It's amazing.
Right, my little boy would love to do that.
Yeah, it's good fun. And at the end of that, there's going to be results from my work going into a computer model, which will essentially allow someone at a mine somewhere to predict exactly what sort of size of fragments and things they're going to get out at the end.
All right. Well, that's an intriguing way to get a doctorate. There we are. You have 15 points at the moment. The score you have to beat is, at the moment anyway, is 20. Let's see if you can do it with your general knowledge. 2 minutes starting now. What is the name of the Kazakhstan television presenter created by the comedian Sacha Baron Cohen?
Borat.
Correct. What name's normally given to a sculpture representing the upper part of a person's body, especially their head, shoulders and chest?
Pass.
Which Edinburgh-based policeman made his first appearance in Ian Rankin's novel Noughts and Crosses in 1987?
Pass.
Who stepped down as England's rugby union coach in November 2006 in the wake of 8 defeats in 9 matches?
Andy Robinson.
Yes. Which saint's baptismal name, Giovanni, was changed by his father to one meaning Little Frenchman, possibly in honour of the child's Provençal mother?
St Francis.
St Francis.
Of Assisi.
Yes. Which range of hills reaches the English Channel at the White Cliffs of Dover?
South Downs.
North Downs. Who plays the title role in the 1998 film Meet Joe Black about a media mogul who acts as a guide to death?
Brad Pitt.
Yes. Which infamous person was born in Braunau am Inn in Austria on the 20th of April 1889?
Adolf Hitler.
Yes. Which Swedish chemist introduced the universally accepted concept of 1 or 2 letter symbols to represent chemical elements?
Bohr.
Berzelius. What name is given to the watery fluid found in plants by which carbohydrates are transported and stored?
Xylem.
Sap. On which Caribbean island did the eruption of Mount Pelée in 1902 kill an estimated 30,000 people?
Grenada.
Martinique. Which American rap artist's album Encore went to the top of the charts in November 2004?
Eminem.
Yes. What is the name of the spirit who is Prospero's helper in Shakespeare's The Tempest?
Pass.
Which close relative of the red deer with which it interbreeds was introduced into Britain from Eastern Asia via deer parks in the second half of the 19th century?
Grey deer.
Sika. Which Midlands town regained its city status in 1919, its Church of St Martin becoming a cathedral in 1927?
Wolverhampton.
Leicester. In 2000, Salford University made history by appointing Sheila Whiteley as the first professor of what type of music?
Popular music.
Yes, pop or rock music. You had 3 passes. Ariel was the name of the spirit, Prospero's helper. Rebus was the Edinburgh policeman in Ian Rankin's books. And a bust is that sculpture, the head and shoulders and all that. 3 passes. Chris Braithwaite, 22 points. And finally, Peter Gaskell, please. Now, this man Bob Marley was probably, I suppose, the first third world superstar.
I don't think his mission was to be a superstar particularly. He had a more focused mission on bringing dignity and acceptance to to black people generally. That was his Rastafarian mission, if you like. I think he struck a chord right round the world, which made him the superstar that he became.
And he did that by, well, popularising reggae, obviously.
Reggae music was unknown very much before Bob Marley came along, and he defined it very much, and it's fed into indigenous forms of music right over the world. He just struck a chord, I think, with the music and also with the message he was trying to get across, which was peace, love and unity, really.
Well, interesting stage in the contest. You have 17 points. 22 is the top score at the moment. Let's see how you do with your general knowledge in 2 minutes, starting now. What name derived from the Old French for balcony is given to an enclosed compartment or a fixed bench in a church?
Pew?
Yes. Which Shakespearean character kills his wife Desdemona after his scheming Lieutenant Iago produces false evidence of her infidelity?
Othello?
Yes. Kafkas is the Russian name for which mountain range?
Caucasus?
Yes. Who was appointed as Australia's Test cricket captain in 2003 in succession to Steve Waugh?
Ricky Ponting?
Yes. Which animals found in the tropical forests of the New World and Malaysia are characterised by a short trunk that hangs down over their upper lip?
Pass.
Which professional magician, television presenter's interest in magic began when, as a boy, he discovered a book called How to Entertain at Parties?
David Copperfield?
Paul Daniels. The tune of the patriotic hymn I Vow to Thee, My Country comes from which movement of Holt's Planet Suite?
Jupiter?
Yes. What name is given to the forced relocation of the Cherokee Native Americans to the western United States during the winter of 1838-39?
Pass.
Which fruit native to Central and South America has the highest calorific value of any fresh fruit?
Pass.
Which historical character is played by Marlon Brando in the film Desiree and by Rod Steiger in Waterloo?
Napoleon?
Yes. What is the first county that the River Severn flows through on entering England?
Staffordshire?
Shropshire. Which Scottish author who serves as the Governor-General of Canada wrote the 1915 novel The 39 Steps?
John Buchan?
Yes. Rocks formed either on or below the Earth's surface when a molten mass of magma cools are known by what general term?
Volcanic?
Igneous. Which European capital city is served by Barajas International Airport?
Pass.
Which Christian festival is held in the Western Church on the Sunday following the Paschal full moon, which occurs on or after the spring equinox?
Pass.
What part of the human body is inflamed in the disease quinsy?
Pass.
Which Irish vocalist born in County Donegal topped the charts for 3 weeks in 1988 with Orinoco Flow?
Enin?
Enya.
Enya.
By what bovine epithet did Alf Garnett refer to his wife Else?
Cow?
Silly old moo. And you had 6 passes altogether. Quinsy is related to tonsils or the throat. Easter Day is the Christian festival I was looking for. Madrid is the European capital served by Barajas International Airport. Avocado has the highest calorific value of any fresh fruit. The Trail of Tears was the name given to that forced relocation. And tapirs are those animals with the funny trunks. That. Yep. 6 passes. Peter Gaskell, 24 points. So, at the end of a close contest, let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 15 points, Ed Isaacs. 3rd place with 20 points, Simon Gay. 2nd place with 22 points, Chris Braithwaite. In 1st place, 24 points, Peter Gaskell. Which means, of course, that he goes through to the semi-final. Congratulations to him. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Anne Robinson's got another batch of insults ready. The weakest link had better beware. Next on BBC Two. And then at 2:15, it's the fish course for the chefs from the southwest on Great British Menu.
Portion of chips, pork is a la carte.
How do you like your pub food? With salad? With chips? Or with 2 Michelin stars?
That's the best burger I ever had.
Proper bowl of delight.
Tom Kerridge's Proper Pub Food continues Monday at 8:30 on BBC Two and BBC Two HD.